Hi, once again welcome back to Obstetrics and Gynecology videos. Today we are going to see about radiology in obstetrics. We know that during the pregnancy, in the first trimester, that is within 6 weeks, and again after 20th week, sometimes again in between, the doctors will tell you to do the scanning. And after the scanning, you will get a report in your hand, and sometimes you may wonder by looking into the findings, and you may not be able to identify anything out of that. So here we are going to see those details and how to interpret a scanning report. All those things we are going to see in this topic. After watching this video, you will get an idea why we are supposed to do the ultrasonography or scanning during the pregnancy. Sometimes you may think that it's simply for wasting the money, but it's not for that. Today we are going to see the uses of this ultrasonography or scanning during the pregnancy. Actually, in the scanning, we are using very high frequency sound waves, and its frequency will be between 3.5 to 7 megahertz. And ultrasonography is currently considered to be as the most safe, non-invasive, accurate and cost-effective investigation of the fetus. That is, we are not introducing anything into the body, and it's giving an accurate picture, and it is cheap when comparing with the other methods, and it is safe for the mother and for the baby. And there are two types of scanning we are doing nowadays: transabdominal and transvaginal. Transabdominal means we will place the probe over the abdomen and we will observe the fetus. Otherwise, transvaginal means we will insert the probe through the vagina, and by that way you will visualize the fetus. So this shows the transabdominal probe, the probe we are using for the transabdominal scanning. This we will be applying over the abdomen. And this is the transvaginal probe. This part of the probe this part of the probe will be introducing into the vagina by holding over this part. Now we can see the advantages of this scanning. Diagnosis and confirmation of viability in early pregnancy. That is, immediately after missing the cycle, sometimes you may do the urine pregnancy test, and after doing the urine pregnancy test for confirming your pregnancy, in order to confirm whether pregnancy is there, and even if it is there also, whether the growth of the baby is occurring adequately or not. For that we can perform the scanning, whether adequate growth is there, whether the baby is alive. For those things we are doing the scanning in the early pregnancy. In the earlier pregnancy, when we are doing the scan, between 4 to 5 weeks, you can see the gestational sac in the scanning report. If you have seen gestational sac seen, it is normal, and it should be seen between 4 to 5 weeks, and yolk sac at about 5 weeks. And the fetus or the embryo can be observed and measured between 5 to 6 weeks of gestation. If you are doing the scanning before 5 to 6 weeks, you cannot see the baby. You can see only the gestational sac and yolk sac. And between 5 to 6 weeks, you can see the embryo. So if the scanning has taken after 5 weeks, you should see whether it is written embryo visualized. If that is written over there, it is normal. And from 6th week onwards, you can see the cardiac activity of the baby. So in the report, it will be written as cardiac activity visualized or visible. If it is there at 6th week, it is normal. And next is assessment of the fetal well-being. The Doppler ultrasound or scanning allows the assessment of the velocity of blood within fetal and placental vessels, and provides indirect assessment of the fetal and placental condition. That is, by the scanning, we can see whether the blood flow to the placenta and blood flow through the umbilical cord is occurring properly or not. And if it is occurring properly, it shows that the fetus and placenta is not having any problem. That also can be identified. Next, in order to detect malformations in the fetus, that is, if the baby is having any structural abnormalities, and in 2 to 3% of all the pregnancy, the baby will be having one or other problem, and this we can identify even before 20th week of gestation itself, if you are doing the scanning. And if you are identifying it before 20th week, that is before 4 months, if the baby is having major problem, we can go for the abortion or we can terminate the pregnancy. The common defects that you can see include spina bifida, that is open neural tube defect. At the back side, the spinal cord will be open, you can see it. Hydrocephalus, that is large size of the head. Skeletal abnormalities of the bone. Achondroplasia. Abdominal wall defects such as exomphalos, that is herniated umbilicus or gastroschisis, cleft lip, cleft palate, and congenital cardiac abnormalities. All those things you can identify even before 20th week if you are doing the scanning. And if such problems are there, means these are the major deformities or major problems. Even if the baby is alive also, after the birth of the baby, even if the baby is living also, the baby will be a burden for the society and for the baby itself and for the family also. So in that case, you can go for the termination of pregnancy. And in the first trimester ultrasonic sonography, soft markers of chromosomal abnormalities such as absence of fetal nasal bone, if nose bone of the fetus is absent, or increased fetal nuchal translucency is there, in these cases you can suspect the chromosomal abnormalities of the baby, mainly the Down syndrome, if you have seen it in the ultrasonography. And measurement can be done accurately, that is you can identify the gestational age, size of the baby, and you can identify the you can understand the growth of the baby also by taking the scanning. You can assess the crown rump length, that is the length of the baby from the top to bottom, and it is used from 13th weeks plus 6 days of gestation onwards. We can take it, we can use it. And the head circumference, that is around the head, that you can take from 14 to 20 weeks of gestation. And the biparietal diameter and the femur length of the femur also can be used to determine the gestational age. And if these measurements are normal, we can identify the gestational age and we can ensure the proper growth of the baby also. And gestational age actually we cannot be accurately calculated by ultrasonography after 20th week of gestation, because wider range of normal values of abdominal circumference and head circumference around the mean. And in addition to the abdominal circumference, head circumference, biparietal diameter and fetal length, if you are doing a calculation or if you are applying it in an equation, we can assess the fetal weight also, weight of the baby also we can calculate by using these parameters. So in the ultrasonography, we can identify the weight of the baby also, especially in the later trimester of pregnancy. And in pregnancy is helpful in distinguishing between different types of growth restriction. That is, if fetal growth retardation is there, that is FGR, sometimes it may be a symmetrical growth retardation or maybe an asymmetrical growth retardation. Sometimes altogether the size of the baby may be less, but in some cases only one side of the baby or one leg may be not be having size when compared to the other one, or one hand may be small when comparing to the other hand. So that is known as, or one area may be small when comparing to the other area. That is known as asymmetrical. So these defects also can be identified. So we can assess the fetal weight, you can assess the gestational age, you can assess the weight of the size of the baby, and you can assess the growth retardation. And in the growth retardation itself, we can assess whether it is asymmetrical growth retardation or symmetrical growth retardation. See, this image shows the crown rump length. Here you can see this is the baby. From the top to the bottom we have taken the length. And this is the biparietal diameter. This is the head of the baby. This shows the biparietal diameter of the head. And femur length, this one. And this shows the abdominal circumference. Next, localization of the placenta. When you are performing the scanning, we can identify whether the placenta is located in the lower segment of the uterus. Usually the placenta should be in the upper segment of the uterus, and if the placenta is located in the lower segment of the uterus, that we are calling as placenta previa. And because of the placenta previa, we may get complications, and even normal delivery also may not be possible if it is a severe degree of placenta previa. So it is better to identify it and in the earlier stage itself. And more than that, sometimes bleeding may occur, that is antepartum hemorrhage may occur in the case of placenta previa. So if placenta previa is there, in the scanning you can identify where the placenta is getting located. At 20th week of scanning, usually as a practice they used to identify the location of the placenta also. And another advantage, we can assess the amount of amniotic fluid, whether it is more or less, whether it is a polyhydramnion or oligohydramnion, that we can assess. For assessing that, we are dividing, already I have told you in the previous video about the fetal assessment. We are dividing the abdomen into 4 quadrants, and from each 4 areas, and from each portion we are taking the length of the largest vertical pocket. And if these measurements are less than 2 centimeter in one side, if it is less than 2 centimeter, it suggests oligohydramnion. And the measurements together, that is 4 side, one side it is 2 and second again 2, third 2, fourth 2, and all together you are getting 8. And if it is greater than 8 centimeter, it suggests polyhydramnion. The amniotic fluid index is measured by dividing the uterus into 4 quadrants. I told you just now. Vertical measurement is taken from the deepest cord-free pool in each quadrant with the result summated, and it should be between 10 to 25 centimeter. That is, the normal amniotic fluid index is between 10 to 25 centimeter, and if it is below 10, it shows reduced volume, and if it is below 5 centimeter, it shows oligohydramnion. And if the value is above 25 centimeter, it suggests polyhydramnion, that is excessive amniotic fluid. See here, this is the maximum vertical pool. You can see the length over here. This is the way of measuring the length. And you have to take in for 4 quadrants. This length you have to take in 4 quadrants and you have to add it together. And in the case of anencephaly, that is small head or absence of head, or in the case of esophageal atresia, that is closure of the esophagus, in these cases the amount of amniotic fluid will be more. And in the case of renal agenesis, or in the case of posterior urethral valves, the amount of amniotic fluid will be less. Renal agenesis means absence of kidney, and urethral valves posterior means it will be closed or coiled together, and this will result in the decreased amniotic fluid because the urinary production will be less. And by the ultrasonography or by the scanning, you can identify whether twin pregnancy is there or whether multiple pregnancy is there, and you can identify the chorionicity of the baby also. And it is useful to determine the chorionicity in early pregnancy, twins, and in higher multiple gestations. In the first trimester, placental tissue is seen within the base of chorionic membrane, within the base of dichorionic membrane, and it has been marked as the twin peak or lambda sign. That is, in the first trimester, when you are taking the ultrasonography, if the placental tissue is there, is seen within the base of dichorionic membrane, that is known as the twin peak or lambda sign. See, this shows the twin, and this is the lambda sign. See, here also you can see, and here also it is there. And measurement of the cervical length, especially if you are performing the transvaginal scanning, you can assess the length of the cervix, and it suggests that in 50% of the women, those who are delivering before 34 weeks of pregnancy, they will be having shorter cervix. So it is compulsory that you are supposed to measure the length of the cervix. And next is invasive procedures. If you want to do other invasive procedures, that is, for example, if you want to do the amniocentesis or chorionic villus sampling, in those cases, actually we are doing it under the guidance of ultrasonography. So this scanning help us to do the other invasive procedures also. See here, we are performing the amniocentesis, and this we are performing along with that we are doing the scanning also. That is, under the visualization of this only we are performing the amniocentesis. And the other uses include, it can use in the case of intrauterine death. we can confirm the death of the baby, and we can confirm the presentation if the presentation of the baby is uncertain, and we can identify the gender of the baby. We can identify uterine and pelvic abnormalities, that is if the uterus is having any abnormality or if the pelvis is having any abnormality. For example, if a fibroid is there or if a ovarian cyst is there, all those things we can identify in the ultrasonography. Next is MRI, that is magnetic resonance imaging. It provides multi-planar views and it gives you better characterization of amniotic details. For example, we will get idea about the fetal brain and information for planning and mode of delivery and airway management. Everything we can do by taking the MRI, because we will get a more clear picture about the status of the baby, and on the by depending on the status of the baby, we can identify what should be the mode of delivery, whether we need to have a cesarean or we need to have a normal delivery, and after the delivery whether the baby needs airway management or immediate resuscitation of the baby is needed or not. That also can be identified by taking the MRI, because it gives a clear picture about the complete parts of the baby. Next one is X-ray, and this is vital, to exclude lung metastasis, and we can use it in the case of histosalpingogram, HSG also. But nowadays during the pregnancy, usually we are not using the X-ray because it is harmful for the baby. So I'm not going to take in detail about the X-ray. So thanks for your patient attention. See you once again with a new video. Bye.